Hi guys, welcome to a new video, and today will be an update of all the things I picked up in the last 2 months. Long time, of course. I just hope you all had an amazing Christmas as well, and a great Happy New Year to you all. Of course, we're in 2016 now, so quite daunting, of course, and it's a start of a fresh new year. Hopefully some good music will come along the way. And all the things I picked up that I'm going to show, all the things I picked up before Christmas, during Christmas, after Christmas as well, during the sales, and my birthday, which was a few days ago. And a couple of these things I've only picked up yesterday as well, so you'll have to bear with me all the way through this pile. Of course, we'll start with the CDs first, which there's a load of. The first one is Suzanne Vega, 99.9 Fahrenheit degrees. Great album, very gritty compared to the previous few albums, because this was released in 1992, which you can sort of tell is made in the 90s. I must say the second half is a lot better because it's a lot more louder and angrier, which I love. I love the artwork as well, very different and fiery, and it shows a lot of personality, and this is definitely one of her standout albums, I must say, along with Solitude Standing. So, great one to have if you're a fan of Suzanne Vega. The next one is one I picked up from a charity shop, and it's Clannad, compilation of past, present. Great band. I'm quite new to them because I like a lot of Enya, and of course Enya is the sister to the band members of this band, and I love Irish music as well, and I have a little bit of Irish in me, so I could sort of feel like you just want to be proud and just listen to it and see what you think. And yeah, great album, beautiful melodies, nice harmonies as well. There's one track that I think most people remember from this band is Theme from Harry's Game, which was a hit many moons ago in the 80s. And yeah, I'm still quite new to this, so I've listened to it a couple of times, but it's starting to stand out, and it has some really more upbeat songs as well, because I was expecting it to be a little bit too dreary, but it's not, so that's good. Next is Ellie Goulding, Delirium, her third album. I must say that I was a little bit unfair on this album at first, because I just sort of listened to it once and then I thought, oh, didn't expect very much of that at all. But I've listened to it a few times since then, and it's now beginning to stand out. I think it's because it's quite a long album, 16 tracks, and it's more difficult to process an album quite that long. Because it has that many tracks and you want to try and remember everything, but now it's beginning to stand out a lot more. I must say though that the lead single, On My Mind, I'm not very keen on at all. I don't think it really represents the album. I think it's very repetitive, and it doesn't show her vocals or personality at all. I think a song like Keep On Dancing would have been a much better option as a lead single. It has Love Me Like You Do on this album as well, which is a great song, and of course it was a massive success last year, so that's a good one to have on the album. I love the artwork as well, and yeah. Next one is a band which I kind of like. I've liked them ever since I won X Factor, and it's Little Mix with their third album, Get Weird. I must say that I did love the second album, Salute, which was more R&B, very 90s, and they've gone back to pop, like the first album with this album. And it's very fun, very upbeat, quite 80s sounding. Favourite track on here is Weird People, which is a very B-52s like track. Other great songs, Black Magic of course, Hair, Lightning. It's just a good mix, and I'm glad they're getting some more success as usual, which is great. And yeah. Next is Amy Winehouse, Frank. For some reason, I just never bought this album. I think it's because there wasn't really a hit single off this album, unfortunately, compared to the likes of Back to Black, which was filled with hits. So this album was a bit ignored by me until I bought it a couple of months ago. And it's very good, very different than Back to Black. It's very jazzy, and she took a lot of inspiration from artists like Billie Holiday and Ella Fitzgerald, of course. So it's a nice one to listen to for a change. My favourite song on here is I Heard Love Is Blind, which was one of the lead singles, and I like Stronger Than Me as well. Nice simple artwork as well. Next one is Amy, which is the soundtrack from the documentary film Amy, which I've watched quite recently. It's very, very good, very in-depth about Amy's life. It has a lot of old footage of her before she was famous. Very interesting to watch, although very sad and poignant all the way through. So, yeah, good one to have for the collection. Next one is Phil Collins' hit. I must say that I do prefer him in Genesis rather than in solo material, but this album is still a great collective of some really great tracks he has had over the years in the 80s and 90s. Another Day in Paradise, True Colours, the cover version from Cyndi Lauper. His cover version of You Can't Hurry Love, Against All Odds, One More Night, A Groovy Kind of Love, In the Air Tonight, of course, which is actually one of my least favourite tracks from Phil Collins, believe it or not. So yeah, great artwork as well, very artistic, and yeah. Next is Enya, Dark Sky Island. Of course I love Enya, and I'm really glad that she came back with this album recently, because it's been 7 years since the last album, and I think everyone was getting a bit impatient, although you have to be patient when it comes to Enya, because she releases an album every few years, so it's quite a big gap between each one. Great comeback album. Of course, you kind of know what to expect from any of this album. There's no risks or anything, although the sound of it sounds very a lot more better technology as such. And favourite songs on here are The Forge of the Angels, Echoes in Rain, Dark Sky Island, and Diamonds on the Water. So, stunning album, lovely artwork as well. Next is an album which I had for Christmas. I opened it up on Christmas Day, and it's Adele 25. Of course, this album has been a stomp smash hit all over the world, as everyone predicted it would. I must say I've only listened to this about twice, and it's not beginning to show any memorable things for me at the moment. But then again, I will go back to it, because of course over the next year there's going to be a lot more recognition for this album, because it's going to have a lot more hit singles, I think. The only tracks that have really stood out to me is Hello, the single, and Send My Love to Your New Lover, which is very different for Adele, a lot more upbeat and just something very different, and I'm quite surprised, and I hope it's a single, because I think it will do well. So yeah. Next one is an artist which I've got quite new to, and a recommendation from a few users have told me to listen to this artist, and it's Grimes, Art Angels. And I must say this album is fantastic. I listened to it once when I first bought it, and I didn't really like it for some reason. I just think it was a bit too experimental, and I couldn't really understand much of her singing at all, because a lot of her voice has been dubbed, and she sings quite fast on a few tracks, and there's sort of effects on her voice as well, and I sort of brushed it off, and then I went back to it again because I wanted to give it another chance, and I'm glad I did, because now I love it, and her voice is starting to gel with me, and I can see why everyone loves this artist, and it's not too experimental, it's very artistic, but it sounds like it was made on another planet, and it's very futuristic as well, I must say. Very good sounds, it sounds very fresh as well, and I love the artwork as well. It's very like a cross between Japanese manga and tattoo art. This is basically like a digipack edition. Favourite tracks on here are California, Belly of the Beat, Art Angels, that's probably my favourite track on here, Butterfly, which is stunning. Yeah, if you want to check this artist out, I recommend listening to Art Angels and Butterfly. So, yeah. Next is an album which I picked up because it was cheap, and I watched a documentary about the making of this album a few months ago, and it's Tubular Bells by Mike Oldfield. This is a very, very legendary album. The artwork, it just stands out. A lot of people recognise this album cover. It's basically like, there's no vocals on this album, and it's like a long continuous track of 2 parts, and it's very good, and the way it just gels together and changes throughout, it's very beautiful. And I've never had an album like this before, so it's a nice change for me, and I can see why a lot of people love this album, and a lot of people say this is his best work, so I'll probably agree eventually. So yes, and I'm enjoying it. Next one is a few albums I picked up by the same artist, and it's Prince, and I picked up 1999, and on first listen, because I listened to it once all the way through, it really stood out, and I love the synth pop element of it, very early 80s sounding, it's brilliant. I am going to go back to this again because I really would like to try and memorise some more of the tracks. This album includes 1999 and Little Red Corvette, which are great singles. Next is Purple Rain from the film Purple Rain, and Prince's 1984 album. What can I say? Great track, has some really big hit singles on here. My favourite tracks though are Computer Blue, which is very different and quite funky. When Doves Cry, and I Would Die For You, which is an amazing single. Just love the sound of it. And I do like Purple Rain, the song, but it's quite long, so I have to be in the right mood to listen to that one. And the last Prince album, and this is the one I've been listening to the most out of the 3, and people will be quite surprised because this is actually one of his least accessible albums, which people have told me, and it's Around the World in a Day. For some reason, I just love this album. I love all the tracks on here. There's only 9 songs, so it wasn't that hard to listen to all the way through, but each one really had its own personality, and I like how each song has its own different font and colour, and all these figures, each one represents a track on the album, so that's even more so interesting. My favourite songs are Paisley Park, Raspberry Beret, America, and The Ladder. The Ladder just gave me goosebumps all the way through, and yes, fantastic. And I like how it's got a slight Eastern South Asia feel to it, which I find very interesting. Only slightly, but you can hear hints of it on the album, along with the synth pop element, of course, which Prince is known for. So yes, and 2 albums by the same artist, and he's also an album artist I've been getting into a lot more recently, and it's Dave Bowie, and this is Aladdin Sane. I've wanted to pick this album up for a while because I've heard this is one of his best, and again, Tubular Bells, this is got a very amazing iconic artwork cover, very stands out, and it's just so memorable, and I'm glad I bought this album now because I've only listened to this once, but all the tracks have stood out to me all the way through, all 10 tracks, but the ones that are my favourite are Driving Saturday, Panic in Detroit, Time, which is stunning, the Genie. Those were the ones that really stood out to me the most, and I can't wait to go back to this because this is probably this might end up being my favourite David Bowie album, I think. So who knows? And next is another David Bowie album, and this is Young Americans. The reason why I bought this one in particular is because I love the track Young Americans. It's very different compared to David Bowie's usual stuff that he did before. The soul feel of this album. I must say though, compared to Aladdin Sane, this album hasn't been as catchy or memorable to me. I've listened to it once all the way through, but I will go back to it again because there's only 8 tracks on here, so it shouldn't be that hard to memorise. But if anyone's got any recommendations about this album, which songs are the best, let me know. So I love the artwork as well. It's very, very funky, and I love the way the cigarette looks. It just makes cigarettes look good, the way he holds it and everything. So next is these 2 albums I picked up only yesterday, so they're all standing out to me at the moment because I'm listening to them as we around now. First one is Carpenter's Gold. And I've always heard a lot of Carpenter songs over the years, and my parents like them as well. And I really wanted to try and get into them a bit more because Karen Carpenter has a lovely voice, and I thought everyone praises them, so I want to see more of their songs. The songs that have stood out to me are Superstar, It's Going to Take Some Time, their cover version of Please Mr. Postman, and Calling Occupants of Interplanetary Crafts. Which I've heard quite recently, and it's stunning. That's probably the track that I've listened to the most. So yeah. And next is Kim Wilde Collection. I haven't listened to this one yet, but I do know a lot of the songs off this album, even the non-singles. The songs like Take Me Tonight, Shoot to Disable, Dream Sequence, Dancing in the Dark. I remember listening to them years ago on YouTube, like random album tracks, because I was going to buy all the Kim Wilde albums about 5 years ago, but I didn't end up buying them for some reason. But I thought I'd get this one because it has a lot of the random tracks shoved onto this, and it's a good one to have, and it was a good price as well. So yeah. So that's all the CDs, and then we're going to do the vinyls. The first few are some 7 inches, and the first one is Toya, I Want to Be Free. Great track, lovely artwork as well, so it's good condition. And the B-sides are Walkie Talkie and Alien. Next one is Thunder in the Mountains. I don't think this track is as catchy as I Want to Be Free, but it is a grower, I must say. And again, I love the artwork. I just love Toya's artwork. She's always released good artwork material, very bold and colourful. And the B-side is Street Addict. Next one is Be Proud, Be Loud, Be Heard, which isn't my favourite Toya track, but again, nice artwork. And the B-side is Laughing in the Falls. Excuse me. These all came in the bundle off eBay, by the way. And the last one is my favourite one, Toya, 4 from Toya. This is an EP with 4 tracks on here. It's a Mystery, which is her biggest single. Revelations, which is I also love. War Boys and Angels and Demons. And now we'll do the last 2 singles, and it's Susie and the Banshees, Dear Prudence. I don't like the artwork, but it's a good song, even though it's not my favourite Susie and the Banshees song, and it's a cover version as well. But I like this because it's a gatefold, and it's got a picture of all the band members there. And the B-side to this one is Tattoo. And another one, and this is a much better song than Dear Prudence, and it's Arabian Nights. I've always liked this song off the Juju album, and the artwork, it's very, it's quite sinister looking to look at, but very great and really captures it well. And the B-side is Supernatural Thing. And that's the 7 inches, and lastly we'll do the vinyl albums. The first one is one I picked up yesterday from a record shop, and it's Sheena Easton, The Lover in Me. This is one of her more later albums. It's released in 1988, and this is when she was a bit criticised for being American, because she started to have an American accent, and she sort of not betrayed her hometown of Scotland, but I think she sort of neglected it a little bit. But I think she learned a lesson eventually. Well, that's what I've heard anyway. And she was apparently bottled on stage for speaking in an American accent. But nonetheless, it's all about the music, and it's a great album. Even though I much prefer her earlier material, this is very funky, has some really good beats in it as well. And some of this was produced by Prince, which is probably why I like it. My favourite tracks are Loving Me, Follow My Rainbow, and One Love. And quite nice artwork as well, very sexy. Next one is Sushi and the Banshees, and this is Hyena. I thought I picked this up because it was very cheap when I saw it, and I have got this on CD, and it was a very good album when I listened to it. I will go back to it again because I don't remember that much about it, but I do remember it being good. And the only track that I know of this is Swimming Horses, which was a single, and I love the artwork as well. It's got a nice embossed feel to it. And next one is Purple Rain, the soundtrack of the film. And I bought this because I just love... I really wanted to have a Prince album on vinyl, and this is the only one I could find, believe it or not. Because these albums are quite hard to find in shops and vinyl. And this is a new edition as well. It's brand new from HMV. So it's very nice to look at. I'm very disappointed about the inlay. It's just a very old looking inlay, unfortunately. Yeah, not much. I've already talked about this album, so there's not much else to say besides the fact that it's great. It sounds good on vinyl. And next is another brand I picked up yesterday, and I bought it because I love the CD, and it's Art Angels from Grimes. And yeah, it sounds even better on vinyl, of course, with my new speakers and everything. And I'm going to listen to this album a lot more on vinyl from now on than the CD, because it will just capture me a lot more. And yeah, this is Gatefolds, and it includes some prints as well. And each one represents a track, which is interesting. I'll just show you what they look like. Just basically these big artwork, tattoo designed look feel. And each one represents a track. For example, this one showcases Scream. So yeah, they're very interesting to have, because it didn't come with a CD and comes with a vinyl. So if you're interested, check it out. So yes, the very last one, and this is one that I really wanted to have, and I'm glad I bought it. And it's Nothing Has Changed, the very best of David Bowie, and the artwork is just amazing to look at. Unfortunately, I think they could have squeezed a few more tracks on this, to be honest with you. Like the CD, like Young Americans is omitted from this, and a few others as well. Yeah, The Man Who Sold the Vault isn't on here either, which is a shame. But nonetheless, it's great to listen to, and I'll just show you what it looks like. I'll put it in the plastic C because I wanted to keep it protected, of course. So, yeah. Has 2 vinyls on here as well. It's a gatefold edition, and each one comes in an inlay, just information and old lyric sheets. And yeah, Ashes to Ashes, Heroes, Ziggy Stardust, Rebel Rebel, Fame, China Girl, just a great selection of tracks. It's not very often you get a David Bowie compilation on vinyl at all. It's particularly a good one like this, so I do recommend it. And that is it, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the update. I'm glad I've done it at last, because it's just been too long since the last one. I don't know when the next one will be, but I'm going to definitely see if I can try to do more reviews, because even though I keep promising to make reviews, I just don't for some reason. But I think this year should be a good one for reviews, I think. So that is it, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it, and I wish you a happy new year. Bye.